There is a kind of exhaustion you never speak into words, a hollow space you hide behind polite smiles. But every time the door closes, it turns into an undercurrent quietly pulling you down. You feel yourself weakening little by little, not because life is too harsh, but because your mind is too fragile. A single criticism is enough to silence you. A message without a reply is enough to shake your confidence. And sometimes, even the smallest failure makes you want to hide from the eyes of the entire world. That feeling clings to you like a shadow, making each day feel as if you are carrying a burden no one can see. You try to stand tall, try to act as if nothing is wrong, yet inside you are so tired that the slightest impact could make everything collapse. You begin to doubt your worth, doubt your ability, and doubt even the good things that once kept you steady. That fragility is not a personality trait. It is a reminder that you have never learned how to protect the strongest part of yourself. I once stood in that darkness, where every thought seemed to spin beyond my control. I reacted too quickly, worried too much, and let the most minor things drag my mind down to the bottom. There were nights when I lay still, staring at the ceiling, seeing one truth clearly. I was not losing to life, I was losing to my own mind. That moment of realization did not make me strong immediately, but it opened a door I had never dared to walk through. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that we do not have power over the world, but we have control over our own minds. The day I truly understood that, everything in me began to change slowly but deeply. I realized that strength is not something given by others, and it is not something circumstances can take away. It is something you build day after day, through small choices, through moments when you refuse to let pain decide who you are. The 8 brutal laws of Stoicism you are about to enter were not created to make you comfortable. They are not gentle. They do not promise that the storm will be quiet. They only promise that one day, when you look back, you will see that you are no longer as breakable as you once were. You will stand firmer, breathe deeper, and live with an inner life that the world cannot collapse. If you have been carrying a pain for too long, you can share it in the comments. Sometimes just saying it out loud is enough to lighten the part of it, and your story might help someone feel less alone. Because every journey towards strength begins at a very real place, facing the point where you hurt the most. Not running, not avoiding, just looking straight at it with a small stillness that is enough to change everything. It is there that your first strength is formed. Law 1. Pain is the first teacher. Some moments make you want to step out of yourself. An argument that leaves you speechless. A silence someone leaves behind that makes you question your own worth. Even a small failure can bring you to your knees, as if you were never strong at all. In those moments, you do not need anyone to tell you to be resilient. You need a place to stand without fearing that you will collapse. I have been at that breaking point myself. Sitting alone in a silent room, I could feel the sharp ache behind my chest, not because someone hurt me, but because I wished so sincerely that they would not. I wanted to push back, to prove myself, to be seen, but the more I struggled, the smaller I felt. Only when I stopped completely and took one slow breath did I finally understand what the pain had been trying to say all along, that I had never truly understood my own capacity to endure. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What hurts you is not the event, but the way you interpret it." I read that line many times, but I only understood it when I hit my lowest point. Pain was not there to break me. It was there to teach me to look deeper into myself. When I stopped blaming others and began observing my own emotions, the pain became a mirror. It showed me the fragile parts, the corners I avoided, the expectations I held too tightly. And from that point, I began to regain a small sense of control that I had long believed was lost. From then on, I learned a small practice. Whenever it hurt, I stopped running. I placed my hand on my chest, breathed once to ease the chaos, and asked myself, what is this pain trying to teach me? Sometimes it taught me patience. Sometimes it taught me to let go of illusions. Sometimes it simply reminded me that I was still alive. And from that point, I began to regain a small sense of control that I had long believed was lost. From then on, I learned a small practice. Whenever it hurt, I stopped running. I placed my hand on my chest, breathed once to ease the chaos, and asked myself, what is this pain trying to teach me? Sometimes it taught me patience. Sometimes it taught me to let go of illusions. Sometimes it simply reminded me that I was still alive. It is only the first knock on the door of growth. But understanding that is only the beginning, because behind pain lies a challenge even more subtle for your emotions. Pain can teach you, but your emotions can lead you astray if you follow them too quickly. And this is where Law 2 begins, when you learn that emotions are not commands, only signals that invite you to look deeper into yourself. Law 2. Emotions are not commands. There are days when a single soft remark from someone is enough to make you flare up or sink into the depths of self-doubt. You know you are overreacting a little, yet you still get swept away as if your emotions have the right to control your entire life. What is frightening is not the strength of the feelings themselves, but the fact that we believe we must obey them immediately. And in that very moment, we lose our inner freedom without even realizing it. I have been trapped in that spiral. One ignored message, and I thought it wasn't very sensible. One careless comment, and I let it become the truth about who I was. There were days when a single piece of feedback made me spend the whole day blaming myself and wanting to disappear. All because I believed my emotions were the truth, were orders I had to follow. But then, in a quiet moment alone, I realized that emotions are not the voice of wisdom. They are waves, powerful indeed, but not a compass. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The mind can bend emotions the way a hand bends a branch." That line stayed with me for a long time. It reminded me that emotions are signals, not sentences. That I can feel anger without acting in anger, feel fear yet still take one step forward, feel hurt but don't destroy myself. When I truly understood this, emotions started to feel like the weather, fast changing, loud indeed, but no longer deciding my direction. From then on, I developed a small habit. Whenever an emotion rises, I do not respond immediately, do not explain myself immediately, and do not condemn myself immediately. I breathe once and ask, is this feeling beneficial? Most of the time, the answer is no. With just one breath, I reclaim a bit of self-control that I used to lose far too easily. And that very self-control is the strength Stoicism always speaks of. Have you ever been pulled so far by emotion that you no longer recognized yourself? If this story resonates with you, write a gentle reminder. I feel it, but I do not obey. Sometimes a single sentence like that is enough to keep you steady through the long day. But even when you learn not to let emotions control you, a bigger challenge still waits ahead. Because life will not always reward your calm with fairness. There will be moments when you do everything right, yet the world treats you as if you are worth nothing. And this is where Law 3 begins, when you understand that life owes you nothing, and that very understanding is the first step toward true freedom. Law 3. Life owes you nothing. There are moments when you do everything right. When you try, you are kind, patient, and hold a calmness you never thought you could achieve before. Yet the results still do not come. Someone you care about walks away without a single explanation. The effort you put in is often taken for granted. The opportunity you waited for is handed to someone who tried far less. And in those moments, a sharp question rises. Why do I not receive the reward for what I do well? I spent a long time facing that question. I clung to the belief that if I lived rightly, lived kindly, lived responsibly, then life would treat me gently. But then one day, when everything I had placed hope in crumbled almost at the same time, I had to confront a truth no one taught me when I was young. Life has no obligation to be fair. There is no rule that kindness leads to happiness, or that effort always brings reward. The most profound bitterness does not come from being poorly treated, but from the expectation that we should not be treated that way. Seneca wrote a line that feels almost like liberation. We suffer not because of circumstances, but because we expect them to be different. When I understood that, I no longer felt the world was betraying me. I saw myself learning how to live without clinging, expecting less and demanding less, and seeing kindness not as a contract that must be honored. I began doing the right thing because it brought me peace, not because it guaranteed anything in return. From then on, I developed a small habit. Whenever disappointment started to rise, I asked myself, am I expecting life to be more perfect than it really is? That one question was enough to bring me back to the ground. When I stopped demanding fairness from life, I felt a sense of relief, clearer, more focused on what I could do rather than what I believed I deserved. Have you ever been in such a situation when you gave your whole heart and effort, yet the outcome was brutally indifferent, as if your dedication had never been seen at all? If this resonates with you, you can share your story in the comments. Sometimes, a single real experience from you is enough to help someone feel less alone in their own journey. And when you begin to accept that life owes you nothing, a deeper understanding will appear. The range of things you actually control is smaller than you think. You do not control other people's reactions. You cannot control circumstances, and you cannot control disruptions. The only thing you truly have is how you stand firm amid all of it. And this is where Law 4 begins, when you learn that your control is smaller than you imagine, but stronger than you realize. Law 4. Your control is smaller than you think. There are days when you do everything you can to keep things within your grasp. You try to control your emotions, manage the reactions of others, and anticipate what is coming so you will not be caught off guard. Yet life continues to turn on its own rhythm. The person you want to keep still leaves. The plan you prepared carefully still falls apart. The thing you fear most sometimes arrives at the very moment you are weakest. And in that moment, you finally see a truth that we often avoid. Most of what happens in life is not in our hands. I used to be someone who could not stand uncertainty. I wanted everything to be clear, to go my way, to stay within the limits I could control. But the more I clung to control, the more anxious I became. One small change was enough to throw me into confusion. One thing not going as planned was enough to ruin my entire day. As I struggled to sort out my feelings, one day, when everything I had calculated slipped off its path, I was forced to face what I had never wanted to accept. I do not control life, I only control myself. Epictetus wrote, "Your job is to choose your response, not your circumstances." I had read that line many times without truly grasping its meaning. Only when my efforts to hold everything in place exhausted me did I begin to see its real meaning. Freedom does not come from controlling the world, but from not being swept away when the world shifts. Peace does not come from everything going your way, but from standing firm when nothing goes your way. When I accepted that my circle of control was smaller than I thought, I began to feel lighter. I stopped trying to change others. I stopped trying to fix the past. I stopped trying to predict the future. I returned to the one small but truest thing, the way I choose to face what comes. And strangely enough, the moment I let go of control, I regained the part of my real power, the power to choose calm, the power to choose kindness, the power to continue. Have you ever fallen into that feeling of helplessness when everything slipped beyond your reach? You can share a moment like that in the comments. Your story is exactly what someone needs to learn how to let go without giving up. When you understand that you cannot control everything, you begin to see that what you actually need to confront is not the chaos outside, but the fragility inside. Most of our anxiety, anger, and disappointment does not come from events, but from the fact that we have grown too used to comfort. And that is what leads us to Law 5, where you realize that comfort, if misunderstood, is the very thing that makes you break the easiest. Law 5. Comfort makes you fragile. We live in an age where everything is accessible with just a touch. Food arrives at your door. A few short videos soften sadness. Emptiness is often filled by shopping, scrolling, or anything strong enough to make you forget you were just vulnerable. But that gentle embrace quietly softens us. Every time we avoid difficulty, we lose a piece of our resilience without noticing it. I lived like that for a long time, choosing what was easy instead of what was needed, avoiding difficult conversations out of fear of being judged, and dodging small challenges to preserve a sense of safety. And then one day, life brought an unexpected blow, and I realized I barely had the strength to stay standing, not because the blow was too big, but because I had lived too long inside my comfort zone. Stoicism never says we must live in hardship, but it understands clearly that prolonged comfort makes the mind as fragile as glass. Seneca practiced days of minimal living, not to punish himself, but to remind himself that he could endure far more than he believed. I also began practicing small things. A morning with all noise turned off, sitting in silence. A night with the phone left outside the bedroom. A day without escaping emotions through entertainment. And I noticed something strange. The more I faced minor inconveniences, the steadier I felt. Not steady harshly or rigidly, but constant in a way that no longer trembled at unexpected change. My practice later became very simple. Each day, I chose one thing that was slightly difficult and did it slowly. No rushing, no forcing, just doing. A difficult phone call. A workout on a day I did not want to move. An hour without social media. Those small things became the mental muscle that comfort had never given me. Have you ever felt yourself grow weaker simply because everything was too easy, as if one small change was enough to overwhelm you? If this resonates with you, consider sharing a moment when ease caused you to lose your inner strength. A small story in the comments might help someone understand why they feel more fragile than they thought. And then, when you look back, you will see something more profound. Comfort does not just soften us, it makes us cling to expectations. Expectations that everything must run smoothly, that others must understand us, that life must follow our plans. But those very expectations are what break us the fastest. And that is where Law 6 begins, when you learn that if you want to stand firm, you must release expectations, or else expectations will break you long before any hardship does. Law 6. Release expectations, or you will break. Some pains do not come from life treating you badly, but from believing that it must treat you well. You expect others to understand you, but they are busy with their own lives. You desire your effort to be recognized, but sometimes it seems to disappear into nothing. You expect love to be returned, but the human heart does not operate like mathematics. And every time an expectation breaks, what hurts is not the circumstance, but the ego, wounded by demanding too much. I have broken because of expectations like that. I expected someone to understand my sadness through a single sentence. I expected others to treat me the way I treated them. I expected effort to bring results and kindness to be reciprocated. But one day, when the three things I wanted most all failed to happen, I broke in the exact way people tied to expectations always break. Silent, hollow, and then I began to doubt myself. Only when I sat in a dark room with nothing left to hold on to did I finally see clearly. Expectation was the rope tying me to repeated disappointment. Epictetus said something painfully true. It is not others who betray you. It is you who expected them to walk the path you drew. When I understood that, half the weight was lifted. I began releasing the habit of demanding that life treat me exactly the way I wanted. I practiced doing the right thing without waiting for immediate results. I practiced loving without measuring the return. And I practiced moving forward without waiting for circumstances to be perfect. My small practice later became just one question every time disappointment rose. Am I hurting because of the truth or because of my expectations? 9 out of 10 times, the answer was expectation. And when I put it down, the pain eased strangely. Not because I became numb, but because I no longer shattered myself with things that were never mine to hold. Have you ever experienced a moment where your expectations hurt you more than the situation itself? If you have, you can share that story in the comments. Someone who blames themselves might realize they are simply carrying too many things that were never within their control. And when you release expectation, a strange emptiness appears, a stillness that makes you look deeper into the meaning of life. Because when you no longer wait for anything to happen in a certain way, you begin to see a truth that Stoicism always reminds us of, but few dare to face. Your time is not infinite. And that is where Law 7 begins, when you remember that you will die, and that very awareness becomes the key to living fully, awake, and without wasting another day. Law 7. Remember that you will die. There are moments when you live as if time will always be enough. You postpone the essential things. You stay in relationships that have already run dry. You continue habits that make you smaller. You spend hours on things that are empty while forgetting the things that make your mind brighter. And then, one minor incident, a phone call, a message, or an uneasy evening is enough to make you realize that life is not as long as you think. I once had a similar experience. Someone I believed would be in my life for a long time suddenly left without warning. That evening, every distant plan I had been keeping in my mind became meaningless. Every resentment, delay, stubbornness, and comparison became small. I looked at myself and realized I had been living as if I were immortal. And that very illusion made me waste days that could have been kinder, better, more honest. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say." I used to read that line as a distant philosophy until it became a vivid truth in my life. When you truly understand that death is not waiting at the end of the road, but could appear at the very next turn, you begin to live differently. You stay angry for shorter periods. You demand less. You delay less. You say what needs to be said and remain silent when silence is required. You choose what is right instead of what is easy. You appreciate every breath, every touch. Every morning, you still get to open your eyes. My practice later became very simple. Each morning, I asked myself, if today were the last day, what would truly matter? Not praise, not reputation, not being right, but whether I lived with kindness, with courage, with self-mastery, with honesty. Living with that question made me lighter and clearer. I chased fewer things that do not last and focused more on the things that make me proud of who I am. Have you ever had a moment that made you realize life waits for no one? If you have, you can share it in the comments. Sometimes a single, sincere story is enough to awaken someone who is living without truly living. And then, when you face the finiteness of your own life, you will see something more profound. If time is limited, you can no longer live according to the expectations of the crowd. You no longer have enough time to chase approval or run in circles for someone's validation. You must choose what is right, not what is applauded. And that is where Law 8 begins, when you understand that virtue is the foundation of life, while applause is only the brief echo of the world. Law 8. Choose virtue over applause. There is a quiet kind of exhaustion that many people never dare to speak about. It is the feeling of having to live under the eyes of others. You try to appear strong to earn praise, try to do the right thing to be acknowledged, and try to stay silent to avoid judgment. But the more you chase approval, the further you drift from yourself. You live like an actor who never leaves the stage, always afraid of not being good enough, not impressive enough, not liked enough. I was once caught in that spiral. Every compliment made me overly excited. Every criticism crushed me as if my worth had just been erased. Every silence from others made me guess what I had done wrong. I lived by the emotional temperature of the world, forgetting that genuine warmth has to come from within. One day, I looked back and realized something that startled me. I was living for applause, not for virtue. Seneca once wrote, "Live as if the whole world could see you, not to win their praise, but to avoid being ashamed of yourself." That line struck my chest like a firm knock. Virtue does not need an audience. Kindness does not need to be posted. Courage does not need to be celebrated. It is the silent choices, keeping your word, telling the truth when it is hard, staying calm when it is easy to explode, that create the kind of strength no one can take away. From then on, I practiced one small thing. Before every decision, I asked myself, if no one knew about this, would I still do it? That simple question became a compass. It led me out of the noise of praise and criticism and brought me back to the deepest part of myself, the part that stays right, stays bright, stays upright, even when unseen. Have you ever lost yourself just because you wanted to be acknowledged? If you have, you can share that moment in the comments. From then on, I practiced one small thing. Before every decision, I asked myself, if no one knew about this, would I still do it? That simple question became a compass. It led me out of the noise of praise and criticism and brought me back to the deepest part of myself, the part that stays right, stays bright, stays upright, even when unseen. Have you ever lost yourself just because you wanted to be acknowledged? If you have, you can share that moment in the comments. You will realize that none of these lessons are meant to make you unbreakable, but to help you stop breaking yourself. And when these pieces begin to fit together, something becomes clear. Strength is not the absence of falling. It is knowing how to drop in a way that lets you rise with a brighter mind. And from that point, the final synthesis will bring you back to the larger picture, where the 8 laws are no longer 8 separate reminders, but the foundation of an inner strength you can carry for the rest of your life. True strength is inner self-mastery. When you finish walking through these 8 laws, you may notice something you once overlooked. That people do not become strong because life is gentle with them, but because they learn to stay upright in moments that shake them without knocking them down. Every challenge plays its part. Pain opens the first door for you to look inward. Emotion teaches you to recognize the truth. Injustice teaches you how to stand tall. The limits of control force you to become humble. Comfort reminds you not to fall asleep inside it. Expectation teaches you to let go. Death brings you back to what truly matters, and virtue keeps you from losing your direction. All of it forms a slow but steady current that brings you back to the strength that has always been yours. I have walked roads like these as well. I once believed strength came from fighting the world, until I realized that what keeps me standing is not winning or losing, but the ability to not lose myself, no matter what shifts around me. Stoicism does not turn us into cold people. It turns us into people clear enough not to chase noise, steady enough not to be dragged by emotion, and light enough not to strain ourselves over what lies beyond our reach. And when you feel that, you understand why true strength is always quiet, always deep, always slow. It does not need to prove itself, does not need to argue, does not need anyone's approval. It only requires you to turn inward and stand firm there. Each time you choose calm over reaction, observation over haste, self-mastery over the need for validation, you build another layer of walls for your inner fortress. If this journey made you pause at any of the laws, you can leave a small line. I chose calm. Sometimes a sentence like that is enough to remind you that strength has never been out there, it has always been within you. And if you want to continue these slower and deeper journeys, where each video becomes a quiet place for you to return to your own clarity, you can subscribe to Sovereign Stoic so you never miss the next steps. You can send this video to anyone carrying a tiredness they cannot put into words. Sometimes, a gentle nudge is enough to help them feel less alone in their darkest days. And who knows, that small moment might become the anchor that helps them stand a little longer on a path no one else sees. Thank you for staying until the end of the journey. Peace is always close, simply waiting for you to choose to return to it.